Hey everybody, Rob Cootie here, the MLM Solution. How you doing today? Today is Wednesday, February 10th. It's currently 10:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you know, we go live each and every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today is no different. Where the subject for today is, and of course, it's podcast number 128. We're racing towards that magical 200 episode. And today is 128, the 90-day goal sheet. Guys, having a roadmap is critical in anything you do in life, whether it's educating yourself, whether it's taking a trip, whether it's your financial roadmap, whatever the case may be. We all need to put down goals, which gives us the focus and the energy and the motivation to get things done. And guess what? The 90-day goal sheet is no different. It can be huge in your success in this business. Join us today as we take a deep dive into and take a look at the goal sheets that we utilized ourselves, the importance of them, how they work, the impact they can have. A deep dive into a very important subject. With that being said, if you will, share our hashtag, the MLM Solution, hashtag the MLM Solution, with our fellow network marketers across the globe so they too can have access to this wonderful information. I'm going to hop off of here and we'll see you in a few seconds.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Hello, Miss Marie. How you doing today?
Good morning, Rob. I am doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful as well. Today is Wednesday, Miss Marie. Hump day already. Hard to believe. February 10th. 1/3, a little over 1/3 of the month is gone. Hard to believe.
It's a short month too.
Short month on top of that. And we have snow, cold, ice. We have freezing rain. We have ice, and we have snow. And it is cold, cold, cold. So,
well, it is winter. I mean, we're in the northern hemisphere, so.
And we're getting the weather that you should be getting. As you know, you and I talk about that sometimes. And for whatever reason, you're not getting it. What an upside down, topsy-turvy world we are in today.
Yeah, a little bit. We're supposed to have some snow coming over the weekend is the prediction at the moment, but we'll see if that actually pans out. It's been unfortunate. The last couple of snowstorms that were supposed to come through were rather disappointing. They were more flurry-esque than anything else. So we might have gotten more in the mountains, but even where I live, I'm on the side of a mountain. We usually get some pretty good snow, and this year's nothing.
Hey, wow. Do you get the heavy, wet snow?
No, we get the light, dry, fluffy stuff. This is Utah. We have the greatest snow on earth.
That is exactly what we got in North Dakota. And you know what? Sometimes it come down so hard with that wind, it was like little razor blades, and it would hit you in the face and feel like it was cutting you. Do you get that effect?
If we get a blizzard type of storm, maybe, but typically no. We get more of a snow globe type of action.
Well, for the people that listen to this podcast and watch it as well, the snow in North Dakota is vastly different. It's small, typically, very small. It's dry. And you say, how can it be dry? It's liquid. It is dry. And it comes down and it hurts. It will cut you. I mean, I don't mean literally cut you, but it feels like it, Miss Marie. And that wind behind it whips through there. And the snow is only, man, they used to run those earth movers, and the snow was stacked so high on each side of the road, you couldn't see the gas station. You couldn't see. You had to know where the buildings were. I mean, those things were 10, 15 foot tall. And once it got that high, what they would do is they'd get the earth movers and dump trucks when everybody went to bed at night and move those big piles of snow out of the city. But in order to keep up with the snowfall, because it was so fast and furious, that they would literally take the snow plows and push all the snow off to the side. And I remember, Miss Marie, they would take the snow plows, I'd follow them, and they'd clear the road. And within an hour, you had about 4 inches of snow back on the ground, and they were coming right back through. It was coming down sometimes that fast. It was unbelievable. It was the same thing in Iceland. Quick story. I get to Iceland. I'm not there a week, and I say, well, let me just say my first day. I said, where's the chow hall? And they said, well, you go out the dorm, you turn right, and you go through the rock garden. And on the other side of the rock garden, and then when they say rock garden, I'm talking boulders as big as a car, because it's a volcanic island. It was made from the ashes, the lava that dried up. That's what it is. And so you go out, and I said, okay. And on the other side, once you go through the rock garden, there's the chow hall. It's the only building over there on that side. It sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And so I go out there, and you got to realize the snow is so freaking deep there, because it snows literally all the time. And so I go out and I look around, and it's snowing so hard that it's almost blizzard whiteout condition, but that's normal sometimes there, and you get used to it. Sometimes people freeze to death there because they get lost. They can't see where they're going, and they have no sense of direction, and they end up freezing to death, and we'll find them 3 or 4 days later. Mm-hmm. So we go out the door, and you turn right, and you go through the rock garden. Well, I turn right, and I start walking. I look around, and I'm like, where in the hell is this rock garden they're talking about? So I go back inside, and I said, where's this rock garden? And he said, dude, just go out the door, turn right, and go straight. And I was like, okay. And I didn't think anything about it. Well, when spring came around, if you call it spring, and you still had snow cover out there, but the snow was actually starting to melt. And as it started to melt, you would see the tops of these rocks. Well, by the time all the snow melted away, which happens, those freaking boulders as big as a car. That's how much snow it was. That was the rock garden. I mean, rocks everywhere. I'm not talking about rocks a little bit here, a little bit there. I'm talking, and supposedly, and I'm not going to get into this because I don't want to take up our show. I know that they did. NASA used to go to Iceland to use that buggy that they did on the moon to train the astronauts. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yep, in full outfit. Now, about the lunar landing, supposedly. I'm not into conspiracy. Very interesting factual stuff. I think it's still on the internet. Have you ever looked at the photographs?
And not that closely, no.
Take a look at the photographs. Here's what happened when they released the photographs whenever the internet, probably when the internet was 8 or 9 years old. Anyway, they released the photographs, and of course it was a lot of people were going and looking at these photographs, and NASA put them up, and Hollywood producers and directors were looking at them. And they said, wait a minute, that shadow is what we get when we do production. That lighting, that's production lighting there. And so they started analyzing and looking at, and there was a site at one time that had each one of the pictures, and there's thousands of the pictures, but I looked at probably 100 and something of them, and they would have a description. This was a Hollywood person, and they were saying in this picture, if you notice, and they'd go through and highlight and look at this shadow over here, look at this over here, look at the lens here. And you would sit and you're looking at it like, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. Now, even if you didn't read that, if you look at it, I could show you things in there. We had some of the pictures, and you're going to use your own mind to make your own judgment. But I could show you some of the things that would be inconsistent, and you would say, that makes sense. I could see why you would question that. So, but this final thought, that vehicle, the lunar rover, okay, it was made when battery technology, the batteries were this big, they were huge. They were like this tall and just huge, probably weighed 200-300 pounds. And, back then, Miss Marie, they used a lot of water. They were acid based. You remember that?
Yep.
The batteries had water, and you couldn't charge them. They were already charged. And if you used them up, that was it. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this was a battery powered, and supposedly the batteries were underneath where their feet went. Now, Miss Marie, have you ever seen the lunar module itself?
Yes.
Okay. You saw how small that is. I mean, it's not really that big. I mean, it's big. It's bigger than a car, obviously. But it's really, when you consider what it supposedly did, it's not really all that big. Now, when you saw how big that lunar rover was, Miss Marie, where'd you put it? And you know the water, you know the Saturn V's, as they launch, you know they spin. They can't go they're designed to spin. Did you know that?
No.
To keep them going straight. Yes. So what do you think was happening in that water? And you know, when a plane, there's a load master. You know, when you load planes up with materials, there's a load master to keep the plane from tilting down and going straight in the ground, or going like this, its tail down and going down. A load master loads up a plane and keeps it this way, so it doesn't do that. Well, when you got water in those big, huge 300-pound batteries, it's sloshing around as that spacecraft is twisting. So you have there's no way that rocket would go, ooh, you know what I'm saying? There's no way. Plus, when they got it up there, Miss Marie, how did they unfold it? Show me the ramp they used to drive it off.
And welcome to our NASA conspiracy theory show today.
There's no conspiracy to that. Physically, that is not possible. But anyway, just wanted to bring that up. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Our listeners get a little bit of fun, entertainment, and a little knowledge all at the same time. All right. Well, with that being said, we have a great show today. And if you guys do, go look at those photographs and think about that rover and see what you think. All right. Number 128 and the 90-day goal sheet. I have Nina right here. She looks like a drunk. She's got her head buried. Anyway, today we got a really good, the 90-day goal sheet. And guys, we're going to be talking about this because, look, you got to have goals. Everybody has goals. Everybody's taught from the time they go to school, probably 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade, somewhere in that time frame. Your teachers start talking about the importance of goals. Having goals in life, writing those goals down, have something that you are going to shoot for, whether that's a career, whether that's being an artist, whatever the case may be, a sports person, they want you to have some type of goal. And they give you some basic fundamental concepts of setting goals and then trying to achieve those goals. Would you agree, Miss Marie?
Yep.
Homework, family minor.
You need something to measure against if you're trying to attain some level of success. You need to know the target that you're shooting for, and you need to be able to do some sort of evaluation along the way to tell whether or not you're on course to hit that target or if you need to make adjustments.
There it is. So with that being said, today's subject is very important, the 90-day goal sheet. Miss Marie, I'm not sure that there's anybody else out there that has the charts that we do, the goal sheets that we have. I don't think anybody maps it out the way that we do. And you'll see what we're talking about in a moment. It sounds like a boring subject. Having a 90-day goal sheet makes it sound like, just has a few little entries on there. No, this is a very in-depth look at your business. It's a very detailed layout in regards to the goals that you're going to set. Because look, it's not just saying, I want to be successful at the end of 90 days. We talk about the 90-day mini blast. This right here is the impetus of that 90-day goal sheet. 90-day mini blast. You say, what do you mean? Because what you write down on there, if you're the type of person that has the ability and has the history of setting goals and achieving goals, guess what? This goal sheet is your map. It is what sets the pace. It is what motivates you to get that 90-day mini blast done. This works hand in hand, the 90-day mini blast and the 90-day goal sheet. Guys, without the two, you do not have, Miss Marie, if people just say, I'm going to do a 90-day mini blast, I don't care what the goals are, I'm just going to go out there and do it. Miss Marie, they have no idea how many people they need to sponsor. They have no idea when they're finished because they have no goal line. They don't know when they cross that goal line, right?
Well, and they oftentimes don't have an idea of what goal they're shooting for in terms of sponsorships or volume that they need in order to attain the income level that they're after.
Right.
They may go into it thinking, I want to make $5,000 a month, but not understanding what that means in terms of volume, number of people you need to have in your organization, and those types of things. So that definitely is a need as well.
Excuse me, guys. All right. So with that being said, she's right. And guess what? This goes hand in hand. We're always talking about the seamless synergy and the seamless activity that takes place between our products. And then what I mean by products, I mean our the things that we share with you, the things that we have on our website, the strategies, tactics, methods, all of those work together, okay? And they work with these things right here, these documents. And you say, well, what do you mean? Look, when you sit down and you fill out this goal sheet, we always talk about, Miss Marie, the 10,000 group volume. That should be your barometer, because we always tell you, if you want to know if a company has a good comp plan or not, you want to do what? You have to have something to evaluate that comp plan. Is it paying me pennies on the dollar, or is it actually rewarding me for my time and my effort? One of the barometers that we tell you to look for all the time is because most companies have a comp plan that if you create 10,000 group volume, which is just 100 people doing 100 PV, okay, then guess what? You're going to be able to look at that comp plan and see, it's going to give you a real good idea whether that company is worth your time and effort. Because what is your goal? Your goal is to create 10,000 group volume in 90 days. Well, that's one of the goals that goes on this goal sheet. Why? So that you can have the ability at the end of those 90 days to say, this is not worth it. This is not working. Okay. If you give it an honest effort, you follow the 5 simple steps, et cetera, and you say, this is obviously not the company for me. Or you say, hey, I'm really doing good. I like this. I think I'm going to continue forward. Or you're saying, hey, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm going to keep this rocket ship moving. Okay. Those are the 3 scenarios you're going to have at the 90-day period. Okay. But it all starts with a 90-day goal sheet. You have to fill that out correctly. And one of your goals should be 10,000 group volume. The number of people you want to personally sponsor is up to you, right, Miss Marie? The number of leaders that you want to have in your organization at the end of 90 days is yet to be determined. Okay. The number of pin rank people that you want to have in your business is yet to be determined. The only consistent thing that's going to be on there is going to be the 10,000 group volume. And consistent, I mean this: if you leave company A for company B and you say, is this new company worth my time and effort? You're going to use that same 10,000 group volume as a tool to evaluate the comp plan. If you say yes to company B, you're going to do what? You're going to fill out your 90-day goal sheet, and you're going to have what on there? 10,000 group volume. Everything else is yet to be determined or is a variable, right, Ms. Marine? There's nothing else on. Well, the 100 PV per month, which is your threshold of profitability. Okay, but that's a given. All right. So the thing is that that's the only thing that is standard. Everything else is a variable and yet to be determined, but you have to have a goal. Now, we're going to look at that goal sheet here in a minute, and we're going to talk about some of those things that we're referring to right now. Ms. Marie, you have anything to add before we do that?
I do not. I am looking forward to getting into this goal sheet. I know you spent a lot of years kind of developing this and putting this together so that it's very functional and very useful in terms of business building and kind of that 5 simple steps process that we advocate for. This is a key piece. So,
right. Yeah. And I wanted to keep things simple. There's nothing on these forms that should not be on there. You don't have to use them all, but here's the thing. As she stated, it's not something that I brainstormed, came up with. It was something that came a necessity as I was building my businesses in various companies. I learned from different people and found that just because somebody tells me something doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to use it or that it is actually going to be effective or is important enough to write down. But once you get out there, and as we know, Miss Marie, when the rubber meets the road, that's when the true test starts. And over time, the things that people shared with me, actually, most of it panned out. That's the result of what we see here. Ms. Marie referred to this, and looky here, a 90-day master goal sheet. Setting your goals for the 90-day mini blast. Guys, if you look at this, it's very simple. It's very straightforward, okay? On your left-hand side, well, at the top, obviously, it's self-explanatory. Your personal dreams and goals. That's self-explanatory. Whether it's, hey, I want a new car, hey, I want to pay for the kids' education, whatever the case may be, better lifestyle, whatever. Reason for doing the business, okay? Now, everybody has to have a why, right, Miss Marie? We always talk about a why, whether it's being a doctor. Why do you want to be a doctor? Why do you want to be a real estate agent? Why do you want to be a running back in football? You know, there's always a why, right?
Yeah, and we did an episode specifically talking about the why, so you can go back and check that out. But the reason this is on your 90-day goal sheet is you very much want to keep that why in front of you. That's a reminder of why you're doing the business, so that when you have those difficult days, when you're going through the rejection, when it's hard to get going, you're reminding yourself exactly why you're doing this. And that should, give you that little bit of motivation to keep going and continue on. Because the 90-day goal sheet, this isn't something you set up at the beginning of 90 days and you go back on day 90 and you look at it and decide whether or not you hit it. You're going to be looking at this every day.
All right, there it is. Man, I was just getting ready to say that. She nailed it. Guys, that's exactly right. Look, here's what I did. I filled this out. I put one in my pocket wallet, actually, and I had one at home, so that when I came home, it was either up on the fridge or on my desk, taped to my computer screen, whatever the case may be. And if I went out and did a one-on-one presentation, guess what? I took this with me and laid it in the passenger seat, and I would look at it before and after I would do my one-on-ones. And exactly the reason that she talked about it. And I would highlight with a yellow marker the things that were important to me, okay? All right, so let's take a look at what we're doing here. All right, so if you notice right underneath, you have the reason for doing the business, and then the type of business you want to build in order to reach your goals, okay? In other words, you pretty much have to know what it is you want out of this, what kind of lifestyle, what kind of income, something of that nature. I want to buy a house, whatever. And then you're going to circle the type of business, because a retail business is not going to give you a house. Small business, maybe it's a long shot, but maybe. Big business, legacy business, so on, right? What does this mean? When you circle that, you're making a commitment to yourself that this is the type of business I need to build. If you're going to circle the small business, that is pretty much going to determine mentally, and your body's going to follow with actions that you don't have to be really serious. You can kind of goof off a little bit and take your time and build a small business. But if you circle big business or legacy business, guess what? Your mind is automatically going to say, hey, I got to get my butt in gear, because this is going to take a lot of effort, okay? And your body's actions are going to follow. So let's take a look. 90-day mini blast goals on the left and the actual results on the right. This is tick for tack. What you see on the left is what you're going to get on the right. But if you notice, the word actual is on the right. For instance, the number of people that you want to sponsor. I always talk about 60 people in 90 days. It's just an example. We just do that for simplicity. You can do whatever number you want, okay? But the thing is that on the right, the actual number of people that I sponsored could have ended up being 42, or it could have ended up being 75, okay? That's where you're going to put at the end of the 90-day mini blast, okay? This is going to be the form that you're going to keep with you, because you're going to every day look at what your goals are on the left. My pin level, number of pins in my business, the number of leaders in my business, my income, what I want it to be, my personal PV, meaning that you got to do at least 100 PV to set the example. Group volume, there's where the 10,000 group volume goes in right there. Here's some of the most important parts of this document. Number of people on auto ship. Remember, we did an episode, the money's in the back end. That's talking about auto ship. The person that has the most people in auto ship wins. And you say, well, Rob, you're always talking about the people that have the most leaders in their business wins. That's true. Leaders are the essence of the business. Guess what leaders do? they make sure that their leaders are doing at least 100 PV per month, which means what? Auto ship. Okay. So you have to have whoever has, if one leader has 300 people out of their 500 group, in other words, they have a group of people that has that number 500, or 500 people are in their business and 300 of those people are on auto ship, that person's got a strong business. Okay. And if they have 15 leaders in their business, they got a really strong business. Okay. Number of people doing 100 PV, another very important, because look, you can be doing auto ship. All right. And that doesn't mean you're doing 100 PV. Okay. Why do you need to know the number of people doing 100 PV? Because your magic number is 100 people doing 100 PV, which equals what? What you put up here, which is what? Group volume is 10,000 group volume, which is 100 times 100. So if you write down here, look, my goal is to have 100 people doing 100 PV, then over here, you're going to put down, hey, I only got 75. So at the end of the 90 days, you know that you still have work to do, or you might say that's okay, whatever the case may be for you. Ms. Marie, you have anything to add on that?
No, I don't. I think you covered that really well. And it's interesting to me as you were stepping through a number of those entries on the 90-day goal sheet. I'm like, yeah, we did an episode talking about that. We did an episode talking about more detail there. So if Rob mentioned one of those areas and you're like, well, what specifically is he talking about there? What does that mean? You're looking for more explanation, more in depth on that particular topic. Go back and look through our episodes. Odds are really good that we have an episode out there. The other option, of course, is if you're not finding the information you're looking for, I'm sure you're tracking with us somewhere on our social media channels. You can always find us using hashtag TheMLM-solution. Drop us a comment. Let us know. It's like, hey, you did this, said X in this episode, and I need some clarification on that. And we will either respond to you, or oftentimes we get ideas for some of the episodes topics that we cover from our viewers' comments or our listeners' comments. So, feel free to reach out. And then also on our website, there's a way to contact us there as well. I know that's a little bit of a work in process right now. Rob's got a lot of improvements going on. So depending on when you're listening or viewing this, it may be a little bit different, but check out TheMLMsolution.net, which is our website. And if you tack on the /survey, that will actually take you to a feedback form. And you can enter anything in that page that you'd like to communicate with us about. And we do a pretty good job of getting back to folks.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. And that page is up and functioning, Miss Marie. So
okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know if that was all going to change.
Yeah, now that we're going to keep that.
Okay,
but, it's up and functioning. I just checked it just to make sure.
Very good. So TheMLMsolution.net/survey.
Yeah, right. And it is an all-purpose document, guys, or form. We call it survey, but it'll do a survey. It'll do contact us. Any complaints, any suggestions, any endorsements, anything that you want to do on that form, that's why it's there. So, Miss Marie, let's take a look at another part of the form because there's more than one. All right, so here's the progress graph. It's an example once again. And you say, well, what does this mean, Rob? Here's what we're saying. Look, as you can see, I have a start date of October 2nd, 2018. Okay, and I have an end date of October 8th, 2019. Now, I did a year here. I don't know why, because this is supposed to be for a 90-day mini blast. I think that I goofed it up without realizing. Probably one of those late nights, Miss Marie, where I was half asleep doing it. But hey, it's an example. Who knows? Who cares, right? All right, so we have the start and stop date, okay? These right here are for you, just in case you need to write something there that does not mean anything. I did not leave those blank by mistake. Those are there for you to write something in if you need to. The starting point is point A, meaning that you are where you are the moment you fill out this form. That's the reason why it's called starting point. Because this progress graph can be a weekly goal. I have, we have one that says 2 bi-weekly goals and monthly goals. So we have 3 different forms that are identical, but they all have different time frames. Okay, so you can use them for whatever. If you want to monitor yourself every 2 weeks, guess what? Use the bi-weekly progress sheet. If you want to monitor yourself every month, guess what? Use that one. Now, I would not encourage that until you get well beyond. When you're first starting out, you should do it at least bi-weekly, if not weekly. Why? Because it gives you focus, it keeps you motivated, and it makes you, it forces you to make adjustments. If you wait a month, you could be making mistakes for that whole month and not know it until the end, or be way off and have no chance of achieving your goals. But the monthly is for there because the people, once you get past a certain point, say the 10,000 group volume, and you're starting to get your business on a roll, guess what? That's when the monthly may come in. But why you say that, Rob? Well, because by that time, your knowledge and experience of the form and of your business, logging into your back office, you're going to learn what to look at and be able to. You can still use the form if you want to, and you can scratch out weekly or bi-weekly or monthly and pull whatever time frame you want up there, and you can still use the form. I encourage you to do that. But what I'm saying is, as you gain knowledge about this business, what will end up happening is that you won't need these forms all the time, because you'll know what to look at through your experience of the back office and the business model, etc. So my point being is I log in the back office and immediately focus in on what I need to evaluate first and then work my way down. This form forces you to look at those things on its own instead of you keeping it to memory. So with that being said, look at what's going on here. First, you have your beginning volume, which is your starting point today, whether that's 5,000 group volume or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. You're going to put that's your starting point. In this example, the person that filled this out, they got a pretty good business going here because their group volume is 10,324. That is their starting point for the October 2nd. That's where their business was at that moment. Their leads, okay, they want to have 25 high quality people or performers in their business at this time frame. This is their goal. That's what they want to have when they come this date. Okay. Message goal. Here's what they're saying. They want to talk to 12 people a week or 12 people a day, whatever the case may be. You can write 12 people a day right here in this form. I just put a number there. This line. You can put 12 people a week is who I'm going to talk to right here on this line. Okay. 21 days. Okay. Number blast days. In other words, how many days in a week, a month, bi-weekly did you actually perform the 5 simple steps, which is the 90-day mini blast? That's what you're doing. This is saying how many days did you perform all 5 of those functions? Okay. That's what it's saying. And then what is that doing? It's showing that whether you're being consistent or not. If you're not being consistent, because what do we tell you all the time? CCBBA, consistent, correct business building activity. This person had 21 days, let's say, out of a month. So there was 9 days in the month they didn't do, and they were being honest with themselves as they evaluated their business. There was 9 days they didn't do CCBBA. Okay. All right. So number of leader goals. How many people did they want? How many leaders? In other words, people that actually grabbed this and ran with it like they are. How many leaders are actually performing at a high level in their business? Well, it's 6 out of 25, which is pretty normal. That's 1/3 pretty much. Right, Ms. Marie?
Yep. The numbers always play out eventually.
Yeah, that's right. And so the 21 days here should match this if you did all 5. Because look, simple step number 5, the number of consistent activity days. This should be the same as this. Okay. They should never be different. And what does that tell you? That's telling you that you're on track, and you'll get excited. Look, I'm doing it. I'm actually doing all 5 steps. I'm developing consistency. This is staring me back in the face, showing me that, yes, I am doing that. What is the ending volume at the end of this 1 year? Once again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, I guess, by having it as a year later. This form reflects that. Well, guess what? At the end of the year, 25,500 group volume. They started at 10,324. That's a heck of a growth period, right? So that was their goal. See, goal line. That's what all this is for. So what is the actual numbers? They ended up with 12. Their goal was 25. They actually delivered only 3 messages. That's the music to the ears message. Okay. Simple. I mean, the number of blast days, they actually did 15 instead of 21. They actually signed up 8 leaders instead of 6. And they performed this 15 days out of, once again, as you can see, they're actually the same. Okay. But actually, instead of doing 21 days, they were only able to do 15. Okay. But they created 15,500 group volume. You say, well, how can that be? Because as you get better and better at this business and delivering the music to the ears message, and you focus in on people that are 5, 6, and 7 on the scale of ambition, your quality of people are going to go up, and you're actually going to sponsor people that are actually going to do something. So even though these numbers are not impressive, you can still sponsor 1 or 2 people that could really take off and cause an explosion in your business. Right, Miss Marie?
Well, that's absolutely accurate. And the one thing I would say about this particular business progress graph, just to step back for a second, is if you are doing a 90-day mini blast for the first time, I strongly recommend that you do fill out this document on a weekly basis and track on a weekly basis, because the first time you're doing that 90-day mini blast, it's all very new and it can seem large and overwhelming. Yes. And like that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. If you're breaking this down to a weekly kind of goal sheet to go through and track your progress, it's going to help you get that much more comfortable with it quickly.
That's right.
And I would say, especially for that first 90-day mini blast, especially if you've never done anything like that before, tracking that weekly is the way to go. Monthly is even a little bit too long, because you can easily get off track. That's, that 30-day time frame, that's a third of your 90-day mini blast. And to be going back and kind of looking and comparing your actual numbers to your goals after you're a third of the way through your mini blast, it starts to get to be a little late to make the adjustments that you need to, whether that's adjusting your actual goal and realizing maybe you were really, shooting for the moon and overestimated what you'd actually be able to accomplish. You'll recognize that early on, rather than being a third of the way through and being disappointed by the results you're getting and realizing that you can't necessarily make an adjustment at that point. So I think this is a really great document to use on a weekly basis.
I agree 100%. I think if you're starting out, you're new to this business and doing your initial 90 days, I agree with her 100%. I would not even take the chance, because finding your weak spots and correcting them right away is going to make your 90-day mini blast so much more effective. And I realized, Miss Marie, because it's been a while since I made this document, I realized what I did here. Instead of having, if you notice, it says weekly step by step, and we have the biweekly and the monthly. Instead of using each document to do the examples, I combined them all into one. So I did this on purpose. That's the reason why there's a year difference. So I wouldn't have to bring up each and every graph, and showing that the graph, the progress graph, if you notice, it doesn't say 90-day, and it can be used for anything. It doesn't have to be weekly. You see what I'm saying? You can scratch that out and use it yearly. Now, I wouldn't do that, but I did it so I could show the example. It's starting to come back to me, and I just wanted to clarify that because I don't want people to be confused. So, your first line is your goal line. This is your starting point. It doesn't mean that you're at 0. It means wherever. That's the reason, once again, I have this number in there, because I wanted to show that this graph is flexible enough that it can be used anytime. Your starting point is wherever you are the day you fill this out. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, and let me just jump in here real quick. I want to make the point here. If you are filling this out for the very first time, you're doing your 90-day mini blast for the very first time, your beginning volume that you're starting with is not going to be 0. It's never going to be 0. Right. Because you're leading by example, and your personal auto ship is set up for at least 100 personal volume. So that means you have at least 100 group volume to start. So that number should never be 0.
That is a great point. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great point. And she's right. Okay. And because what she said, you're doing your initial 90-day, this should be a weekly. Okay. This should be the only form in the beginning that you should be using. All right. And so this would be the beginning date, October 2nd, 2018. The end date would be October 9th, 2018. Okay. So that being said, line 3, okay, positive or negative. What you have to do now in this example, I did mostly red on purpose. Okay. Because I wanted you to see that just because the red doesn't mean that you did a bad job. What this red is for is to help you identify where your weak areas are and where you need to focus. For instance, I ended up negative 11, meaning that I did not do a good job in delivering my message. It doesn't mean that I wasn't good at doing it. It means I wasn't consistent in doing it. Okay. Now, if I wasn't good at doing it and I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants and wasn't really using the words that we teach you to use and stuff, then the number of leaders are going to be affected. Okay. Instead of being +2, I might be -6. And that would tell me that I might be consistent in delivering the message, but I'm not doing a good job of it because I'm not talking either to the right people, 5 and above on the scale of ambition, or Miss Marie, it means that I'm flying by the seat of my pants and just throwing out any message that I feel I can use myself without copying what you and I teach them. In other words, it's not going to be effective. So anyway, I don't want to get that deep into it, but I'm just showing you how flexible this document is. And just because there's a lot of red here, does that mean that I made a boo-boo in this? It's showing me, hey, this is the areas I need to focus on so I can turn those into green. Does that make sense, Ms. Marie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And again, the red doesn't necessarily mean negative. It is the objective reflection of your goal versus what you are actually able to accomplish.
That's right. You said it much better. I was struggling there. You're right. Okay, so as we close this particular document, here's our goals. This is what you're going to do in this week time frame. That's what you're saying. Okay, here's the actual numbers. You got to be honest with yourself because look, if you lie, you're just lying to yourself. Nobody else is going to see this. Nobody else is going to hold your feet to the fire unless it's your spouse. Okay, be honest. Okay, don't be afraid to fail or to succeed. Just be honest. It's the best way to go about this. Otherwise, the form is useless. Here's the actual results. Okay, of what these two are producing. Okay. And once again, as she just said, the red is it's not meant to be negative, to beat you over the head. It is to highlight what you need to focus in on. So hopefully you have more green than you do red, but it doesn't matter. You just need to realize why these things are the way they are. Okay. And this is the results. This is positive or negative. As you can see, we came out ahead on this and everything else we fell short. And so I know what to work on. Okay, I created 15,500 instead of 25,500. Okay, all right. So, Ms. Marie, did we do a good job? Did I leave anything out?
I don't think we missed anything. I think we did a good job.
Okay, and of course, there's your 5 simple steps right there. Okay, all right. So, the next form is nothing more. Here's the 90-day blueprint, mini blast blueprint sheet number 1. This is a progress report that you can fill out on the fly. Ms. Marie, if you and I we're busy, we're running through, but we want a quick snapshot of what our business is so that we can look at it when we finally get a chance to sit down. Here's where you log in your back office, guys, and you just fill this form out. Okay, that's what you're doing. Any strong area, weak area, need to focus area. Okay, and as you can see, number of growing businesses. This is focusing in on the intricacies of your business. This is a back office document. What we did here is actual. I mean, you're going to get the numbers here from your back office, but you're focusing on the numbers. Here, what you're focusing on is the actual activity that's taking place in your business. Does that make sense, Ms. Marie?
Well, it does. And for the folks on the podcast who may not have the visual in
Yeah.
front of them, we just referred back to the original form where we're tracking our business progress on a weekly basis, and then coming back to this sheet 1 business progress report that's a little bit more of the back office. So unfortunately, for those of you on the podcast, sorry, this one's a little bit more visual today. You may want to go back to our YouTube channel and drag that cursor ahead, skip to the parts where you can actually take a look at the forms to see what we're talking about.
That's right. And all of you on the podcast, there will be a link to this video in the description area. So just click on that link and watch the video. It's going to be really powerful, and she's right. She did a good job trying to explain what's going on. But anyway, just I'm going to make this quick. Today's a little bit longer episode because we're covering a really important topic, and we don't want to go too deep, but we just wanted you to know what these documents are for, and you can see the power of what we bring to the table to you guys. No one else has this stuff. Okay, you can make your own, but I can promise you it's not going to be the same. You say, why? I can watch this video and I can write this out and make my own documents. You're absolutely right. But guess what? We have training videos that go with how to fill this out, and also some advanced stuff that as your business grows that you can use these forms for. You're not going to get that just by copying the forms. Now, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just letting you know, I don't care if you copy it or not. What difference does it make? Kudos to you. But here's the thing. You're going to be missing out on the really important information. All right. So with that being said, all right. So this is a snapshot of your back office. You're going to log in and you're going to see current personal volume, group volume, business volume, 90-day goal, group size goal, total people in group, current people sponsored. Okay. You can see this focusing on a totally different set of numbers that you need to look at. And this will work hand in hand with this progress graph here, okay? In other words, once you gain some experience, I'm not going to get into it here, between these two documents, you're going to have a complete snapshot of where you are and what you need to do, okay? And it's going to let you know. And this is a running sheet, Miss Marie. This could almost change daily. If you notice, look, incoming daily leads, number of daily leads, number of firm daily follow-ups. These numbers change on a daily basis. Now, guys, you don't want to get bogged down by filling out paperwork. This is just one document that you can use on a daily basis. The progress sheet here, from starting point to your weekly goal. In other words, guys, I'm thinking about the podcast people. This is the business progress graph. The other one is a progress report. And I guess I should put back office progress report, probably a better way to put it. But what I'm showing is I'm flipping back and forth between the two, guys, because they go hand in hand and they're showing two different things. And when you sit down and look at your business, you want to have these two documents in front of you. That's the reason why I went back and forth for the people on the video so that they can see. I want them to correlate the two visually with each other, because this is exactly what is going to help you monitor where you are, what's going on in your business, where your weak areas are, and really what direction your business is going in. Okay. Miss Marie, I want to say this. Unfortunately, sometimes what ends up happening, because we as human beings, when we see red and we see negative, we say, oh, I got to make that better. And what happens is, Miss Marie, we forget about the green. We forget about the positives. We think, well, they're good. I'll focus on the negatives. Guys, you can't do that. You have to keep things going all the way across the board. You got to keep the green green. You can't stop just because your green is doing good on that area. You have to do all five. And guess what? This document here helps you do that. Okay. That's the reason why they work hand in hand. The other one will keep you focused, Miss Marie, so that you don't focus on the red here. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Yes. And quite honestly, when we talk about goal setting and those types of things, you always hear about SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, time bound, that whole thing. What we're talking about here is the M in the SMART goal. It's the measurable aspect of it. It's the tracking of the numbers so you can objectively look at your business and know how to move it forward.
Right. Very well put. Okay, so that's enough of that. Those are the documents, and there's more. But these are the three main ones. There are more. And you get those documents when you become a member of the MLM solution, well, the 5 simple steps business building system. When you become a member, guys, that's just a sample. We have the get your first check document. We have all of that, laying everything out so that you know exactly step by step what to do and how to monitor it. Okay. And these documents will, for some of you, become less important. Now, if I was to go back into business, I cannot speak for Miss Marie. If I was to go back into business, I would use the documents. I'm not one of these people where I have such high pride that I think I can submit things to memory. And I tried that. That's the reason why I created the documents. It's because I couldn't do it. Okay. I kept making mistakes, and it was costing me, Miss Marie. It was costing me money. It was costing me time. And I was taking a lot longer to get things done because I did not have the focus. I didn't know where my problem areas were. And it's hard to sift through that activity and say, well, what's the problem? Why am I having this problem? Unless I went to Nico or somebody else in my business leadership line, and they would say, oh, this is the problem right here. That's the reason why I created these documents. Another reason I created these documents, so I did not have to second guess everything, and I had to have a clear focus of what was going on. It's hard sometimes, Miss Marie, because there's so much going on. When you're running from one appointment to the other and doing this and doing that, it's hard to keep focused on these things here. But these forms, man, as you can tell, Miss Marie, they are hugely helpful. And did you see anything there that jumped out at you on the forms that you wanted to comment on?
Well, actually, what just jumped out at me is part of what you said here, and I'd like people to make sure they catch this point, is especially if you're new to the business, it's your first time through, you're doing the 90-day mini blast for the first time, and you're struggling. If you're not tracking your progress, if you're not capturing some numbers, and you're going to your upline or your mentor or your external coach or whatever it is, you're looking for help to improve, to help you attain your goals faster so you can get to that level of success, whether it's the income, the time freedom, the lifestyle that you're after, they need numbers to work with. Because I can't tell you how many times I've worked with people and they're like, oh man, I'm making tons of calls and I'm just not, I'm not getting anybody interested. I can't even get them on the follow-up calls. It's like, okay, so you're telling me you're making a ton of calls. How many calls are you making a day? How many people are you presenting your message to each day? Oh, like 3. It's like, okay, well, there's problem number 1. So when you have the information available, the more information you have to work with, the better coaching, mentoring you can get as you go as well. Because someone who's more experienced in the business will be able to look at the type of numbers that you're getting and be able to kind of zone in on where the issue actually lies and help you get it adjusted and fixed a whole lot faster. Yeah. Because I'll be honest with you, both of those sheets that we showed you, there's lots of numbers on that sheet, right? And it's easy for new people, especially in the business, to get kind of that deer in the headlights look. They've filled it out, they've tracked the numbers, but then it's just like, I don't know what to do with this. Yeah. So, it's information that's not only helpful for you in evaluating your business, but it's something you can actually take for assistance with someone who's more experienced.
Right. And the great thing is, Ms. Marie, in the in members area, we have a step-by-step video and a guide that shows them how to fill it out and the importance, hey, this is important, that's not so important. We help them understand the documents and to use them because it can be overwhelming. And we certainly don't want them to do that. We want them to understand that this is not a document that should be overwhelming. It's a document that's nothing more than a monitoring process, and you should embrace it and not be fearful of it or allow it to cause stress in an already stressful life, right? It's just nothing more. It's not a report card. You're not taking it home to your parents. Just because there's red on there does not mean that you're doing anything bad. We had to pick a color to highlight the, because if we kept it black with a negative sign in front of it, most people wouldn't even bat an eye. They wouldn't even notice it. But when you have it red, your eyes will, more times than not, immediately go to that red. That's the reason why they are red. They're not there to beat you up. So don't be afraid of the forms. That's the reason why I bring that up. That's not their purpose. They are your friend. They are helpful, immensely helpful. Miss Marie, I became very efficient when I started using these forms because I knew exactly where I was going and I knew exactly what I needed to focus in on. But I didn't forget about the green. I realized, okay, I'm doing good in the green area, but I can get better and I need to keep focused on that. And once I did, I'll be honest with you, I cheated sometimes. I didn't always use the form as I got really comfortable with, I knew what was on the form. I knew because you and I, if we go in today, and I'm not advocating not using the form, I'm just the opposite. I'm just saying, I'm being a human being, I'm being honest. Guess what? There were times where I felt like I didn't need the form. I thought I was a big shot. I knew what I was doing. But Miss Marie, if you and I go into a company today, we know we got to create 10,000 group volume. We know how to do that. And we wouldn't have to write that down because we know we need 100 people. Okay. But here's why I will use the form for. I'm going to write down how many people I want to sponsor. I want to write down how much volume I want, how many leaders I want. I will still use that form for that. Will I put down that I'm going to do 100 PV per month? No, because I already know when I sign up, I'm going to do more than 100 PV. It's done. It's over. Okay. I already know I need to do 100 people minimum doing 100 PV. I already know that. The one thing that I will not know is how many leaders I need in this company, because it's always different with one company to another. As we said before, Miss Marie, in one company could be 12, another one could be 22. You don't know, right? Because you're dealing with people and you're dealing with so many variables, and you just have to keep sponsoring because, guys, what causes your business to go over that hump, to give you that drink out of the coconut, the lifestyle, is the number of leaders that are in your business that are every day building their businesses, and there's a tipping point. Okay, and you just don't know. It could be 12, as I said, with a binary company that has a bunch of products, or it could be 22 with a company that only has 3 products and using a step away comp plan. It's so different that you can't just pin it down and say, I got to have 12 leaders, right, Miss Marie?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. So
I would use the form for that. But if Miss Marie and I were to go back in, we already know how to do the business. Music to the ears message. Okay. Talk to as many people as quickly as you can, sponsor as many people as you quickly can, train them as quickly as you can, and work with them as quickly as you can. I mean, we already know that, right, Miss Marie? That's it in a nutshell.
Well, it's a little bit like learning math, right? When you're first learning multiplication, division, they want you to show your work so you understand how you arrived at the answer.
Good point.
But as you become more proficient, you can do it in your head a little bit more. You don't have to show your work. You can still get to the answer.
Exactly.
But more of the processing takes place in the head. This is kind of similar.
Exactly. But I will write the other stuff down, Miss Marie, because it's important to me. I want to see it on my paper. I'll still carry it with me. Hey, I want to sign up 60 people. I want 12 leaders, whatever the case may be. Okay. So the thing is that, and guys, you say, well, Rob, and I'm going to say this, Miss Marie, and we're going to get off here because we had a long episode, but I knew it was going to be long today. It's an important episode, and we covered some important documents. But people might say, well, Rob, you say with one company, you might end up needing 12 big leaders in order to have that drink out of the coconut. But you put 12 people down in your form from the beginning. Yes, because I have, from my past experience, I have an idea of how many leaders I need to have in my business. And I want to get to those leaders as quickly as possible. Everything is speed and urgency. Guys, you got to use the 90-day mini blast as your launching pad. So I'm not going to say, well, I'll eventually get to 12 people. If it takes me a year, it takes me a year, but I'll eventually get there. Okay, no, I want to sponsor as many high-quality people as quickly as I can and identify as many leaders as I can in my phase 2 process, right, Miss Marie? And I'm going to shoot for that 12. I'm going to work with people and try to get that 12. I may end up with 9 instead of 12. That's okay. But in the beginning, speed and urgency is critical in order to your business catch traction, I can't wait. I have to write that down, and it may end up, in fact, being 12, maybe 13, and it may take another 6 months to get to that 12 from 9. Right, Miss Marie? We don't know that at that moment, but we have a basic barometer that if I have 12 big leaders, then I have a real good chance of having that drink out of the coconut money at the end of year 1 or year 2. Would you not agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and the reason is because we're playing the numbers. If you guys remember, we told you your 95% of your income, which we did an episode on, will come from 3 to 5 legs, right, Miss Marie?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a business and working in thirds, guess what? A third of 12 big leaders is going to be 3 to 4 people. And if it's 3 to 4 people, that's where 95% of your income comes from. That's the reason why we use the number 12. It gives you a realistic chance of the numbers working in your favor, right, Miss Marie?
Absolutely.
So I always try to tie everything together so you guys know why we come up with these numbers and why I chose 12. History and experiences show me that's what I need to shoot for. Anything to add, Miss Marie, as we close this up, because we are done?
Oh, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, guys, as always, please, since we've been on here long, we're not going to get into all the normal stuff. Please share our videos. Use hashtag TheMLM-solution. Please share. You help us get the word out. We cannot do this on our own. We tell you that all the time. And give us a thumbs up if you guys like what you hear and feel that the information is good and going to help you get what you want from this business model. We appreciate that in advance, and we say thank you in advance. With that being said, tomorrow's show is going to be consistency is the key to your success. Boy, isn't that the truth? That's true with anything. Consistency is the key to your success, not just in network marketing, in life in general. But we're going to take the network marketing slant tomorrow. So join us, share hashtag TheMLM-solution with a fellow network marketers so they can join us tomorrow as well. Miss Marie, I'm done. I think it's time to get off of this thing. This hour flew by fast. I did not expect this. I thought we'd have a long one, but my gosh. And I talk fast too. I tried
We'll
anyway.
see you 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 11 a.m. tomorrow, guys. Take care. God bless.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, TheMLM-solution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.